evening. What I'm going to talk about today is webinars. And by webinars, I mean webcasting, web conferencing, webinars that Multimedia helps produce. A little bit about me. I am the manager. I'm in IT, F&A. My group, Paul's one of my staff. We produce the webcast, we produce web conferencing, we deal with the Ready Talk, we deal with collaborative meetings. We're responsible for support of the meetings that happens out of the convention centers, or excuse me, the conference centers, large meeting rooms, large seminar rooms. Why do we really care? Look at some of these statistics here. This is just the last month, give you an idea about how many webcast deliveries we've had, the amount of programming that we've actually streamed out, the amount of unique viewers, people that are actually viewing our webcasts that we have up. This is considered a slow month. February is not our busiest season. So this is going to ramp up. May, June, July, we're going to see probably treble these figures. Another thing too, as Tom can attest, and NCAR director, the educational outreach has an initiative to increase web programming, deliver some of the content and some of the sessions that come here on our campuses out to our affiliates, out to our members. Let's talk about content. First off, what draws the audience? We have to have something that's appealing, but we also have to have something that they can actually consume. So we're going to suggest that you strongly try to chunk your content while you're doing that. We have a lot of people that come into sessions, come into slides, run-on sentences, huge text blocks. Those are going to turn away your viewers in a webcast or at a web conference, turn away your viewers in a live audience. So what I'm going to suggest to you is you make smaller phrases, single words, things as such. Another thing is assume anytime that you're in one of our conference rooms, one of our seminar rooms, you're going to be webcasted. So that means we have the in-room audience, plus we have the remote audience from the camera. So what happens is in the in-room audience, I step away from the podium, you can still see me. I'm out of frame for the remote audience. As soon as I'm out of frame, they don't see me. Another thing too, please do not use pointers. Pointers are good for the in-room audience. People on the remote, on the webcast, do not see them. Please try to make your points, your emphasis, visually. Do it on screen, do it in the slideshow. Please use microphones and breathe. But please use microphones. The microphones are here for a purpose. One thing is the remote audience can't hear. Secondly, please have your participants use microphones. The remote audience can't hear any questions that come from the audience. Another really good practice to do is try to repeat and restate questions that pop up during your session. That way you're internalizing, you're hearing that question. You're able to answer it. The people on the far end can only hear your answer if they're not actually hearing that question. And it helps to help the audience know that you actually care. Look at the audience. Try to make eye contact. Do not look at the screen. We literally had a recent webcast, 40-minute webcast for 20 minutes. The presenter was with a coffee cup and a pointer with their back to the screen, or their back to the audience. That's incredibly rude, not very effective. So, try to avoid that at all times. Look at your in-room, look at your online. If it's too distracting to actually make eye contact with people, just try to pinpoint a spot in the back of the room and look towards that. You can fake it, that always helps. And then, especially when you're doing a webcast, if you're doing a sweep of the room, it tends to make it look a little bit more inclusive. For webinars and webcasting, I get asked a lot of times about how much time you should allot. Ideally, 60 minutes or less. This is perfect, 60 minutes or less. Ideally, 50 minutes. If you can give people back 5 or 10 minutes of an hour, that's great. If you run over and you take up 10 or 15 minutes of someone's time, then they have to make that up some other way. Also, try to assign a moderator. Terry's going to be very good about getting us off stage when time is up. If you don't have that, people tend to actually finish shorter or finish longer. And then what I like to do is I like to identify the TED Talks. The TED Talks people I try to model after. Some of the things that you'll recognize in the TED Talk is people stay within frame, people use microphones, and all the presentations are 3 to 18 minutes long. Here, I'm going to provide some of my information, contact information. Please include that in your slideshows. You don't have to do that up in front, but give a means for people to actually contact you after the event to follow up. And you might even give some helpful resource links. Here, there's some design help. Here, there's some better webinar help. You can offer that. Oftentimes, these slideshows are actually archived, put out there on a server, a shared server, so that you can view the webinar, or you can actually go out and view the slides yourself. So that's about it. I believe I'm pretty good in that 5 minutes. I'm going to welcome some questions. If you notice, my very first slide was this is the good and the bad, the ugly, part 1. So there will be a part 2, possibly a part 3, but hopefully by then it'll just be the good. So thank you very much.